All right, I just went on Google and I typed in 49ers, and literally every single headline involves Jimmy Garoppolo and the quarterback position. And as you know, many of my videos here in the recent past have involved Jimmy Garoppolo in the quarterback position, but I just get an inkling that many of you are just tired of hearing about this. You're exhausted as this continues going around in circles. The 49ers are literally in a holding pattern. It's like being on a plane and not having clearance to land. So you just have to circle the airport over and over again. And you really want to land. If you're landing in California, your first destination is probably going to be In-N-Out Burger. At least that's mine. But you can't. So you're hungry. You're tired. You just don't want anything to do with it anymore. So I get the feeling that's what the appetite is regarding 49ers coverage right now. And you guys know me and my coverage. I try to make this as all-encompassing as possible because this is a team sport. Quarterback might be the most important position. The quarterback trade, potential quarterback trade, might be at the forefront of the media's attention, but we're going to talk about other stuff here. The 49ers' other offseason keys moving forward. And guess what? The 5 keys that I'm about to list right now are actually more pressing than any movement on the quarterback front. As I've been saying for a week, and as, surprise, social media is finally coming around to it today, the 49ers don't need to trade Jimmy Garoppolo right now. There is no financial downside with how effectively they can restructure deals. Given the rising salary caps, there's not much of an opportunity cost right there. In fact, keeping Jimmy Garoppolo aboard has actually not precluded the 49ers from signing any free agents. And since, that's a down the road kind of thing, the 49ers actually must address these 5 now first and foremost. These are more pressing and will go immediately. I know that it seemed to have dropped there for just a second. So hopefully this internet stays strong. Subscribe to the channel. Right now, it looks like it's a little bit weak or a little bit unstable. So I'm going to give this a couple seconds to make sure that we're good to go. Right now, the 49ers, first and foremost, they need to fill their wide open vacancies at the guard position. Laken Tomlinson is gone. That means that the 49ers not only have an issue at right guard, which has been ongoing now for several seasons of the Kyle Shanahan regime, but also at the left guard spot. Tomlinson was so durable for the 49ers at left guard, and he only, missed 2 snaps over the course of his 5 seasons. And both of those missed snaps were due to a shoe malfunction. His shoe untied, so Laken Tomlinson had to come out. Well, now the 49ers have issues at both left and right guard. And some of the best names on the market, Tomlinson included, but Brandon Scherf, also one of them. Alex Kappa, another one of them. Those were the top free agent names this year. They've already signed with other teams. Some of the mid-tier names, in fact, you could probably say most of the mid-tier names are also gone. So what can the 49ers do at the guard position? Well, it starts with Aaron Banks. He was their second-round pick in 2021. Banks only played 5 garbage time snaps for the 49ers last season against Jacksonville. If the team believes that Banks has indeed reshaped his body and is ready to grab a starting spot, well, he played left guard at Notre Dame, so he might be more suited for that position than the right guard spot. So maybe the 49ers' hopes really do rest with Aaron Banks. But even if they do, and that's a very tenuous proposition, I still think they need to upgrade the right guard spot because they have tendered Daniel Brunskill. He hasn't signed it yet, but I think the team can do better. And I think the Daniel Brunskill, probably for his career, it's better that he's in a utility offensive lineman role because he's been better at that tackle spot. He's been better at that center spot that he has at the right guard position. So most likely the 49ers are looking at Banks at one of the guard spots. And I still think they got to sign somebody. They got to draft somebody. They have to at least add to the depth of that guard room because it wasn't good enough at right guard last year. There are a couple options that you could talk about if you're the 49ers as far as free agency goes. And it's really interesting to me because I'm not sure what the preferred skill set's going to be for Kyle Shanahan at that guard position. In the past, it had always been the lighter kind of player, right? It had always been the more athletic player. But then they went out and got Banks, who weighed 338 pounds at the Senior Bowl last year. And yes, I get it. They thought that Banks was athletic, even despite his very large size. And they thought they could rework his body into the outside zone mold. But I think there's clearly still a focus on adding power to the interior offensive line. And that coincides with the Trey Lance era for the 49ers, because I think you're going to see more zone read. You're going to see more inside zone for the 49ers. And they definitely want more power for that, and also to be able to anchor more effectively than a lighter lineman, a lighter guard like Daniel Brunskill in pass protection. So if that's the case, And if you consider the fact that the 49ers have gone to reclamation projects in the past, I mean, Laken Tomlinson, it was a former languishing first-round pick with the 49ers acquired for a fifth rounder in 2017 and turned into a multi-million-dollar player who signed for over $13 million per year with the Jets. Considering their track record there, maybe the 49ers will go back to the scrap heap. And you think about a guy like Will Hernandez, who played the past 4 years for the New York Giants, former number 34 overall pick, also a huge player like Aaron Banks coming out of college. 340 pounds for Will Hernandez. He slimmed down since to about 327. But his first 2 years in the league were good. His next 2 years haven't been great. He's a free agent now. Maybe the 49ers do go to a bargain bin type of signing because Hernandez has slid over the past 2 seasons and try to go for more of a power-oriented role at that right guard spot or even the left guard spot. I don't know who would go where, but the 49ers obviously have both vacancies to fill. So Hernandez is a name that, an outsider, dark horse name that I'd keep an eye out on just because we're not sure of what schematically Kyle Shanahan is really going to value at this crossroads of a time where the 49ers are presumably switching over to Trey Lance and therefore making some adjustments to their offense. A couple other names, Ryan Bates played for the Bills. He might be a little bit more of that mid-tier price instead of a bargain bill price, but he's still out there in free agency. Trey Turner might have been the Steelers' best offensive lineman this past year. He's also going to be out there, so the 49ers might take a look at him. And Eric Flowers, who was with Washington, he actually put together a good year in pass protection this past season. And again, I'm not at a complete loss, but I'm still wondering what the 49ers are going to do exactly as far as priorities at guard, because I don't think that old model of light guard, ready to play, basically converted tight end, I don't think that's going to work anymore. 49ers of the 1990s, they also had to make the switch from lighter guards to heavier because they need to get in pass protection, and the 49ers absolutely must do that as well. That brings us to number 2. Execute a 2-track plan at center involving Alex Mack and an apprenticeship. Mack, he just got back from vacation in Ireland. He's going to be 37 in November. He's not getting any younger. In fact, we still haven't gotten official confirmation from the 49ers that he will play in 2022, but it certainly was trending that way the last time that we talked to John Lynch. Still, the guy's going to be 37 this next year, entering his 14th NFL season. If it were ever time to start thinking of a contingency plan at center, a position that's so critically important for the 49ers, just look at 2020 when there was an absolute disaster there against Seattle with their third stringer, Honus Grasu. Well, if there were ever a time for a contingency plan, it's right now. So Alex Mack, his wealth of knowledge, he's played for Shanahan at such an important position that's in charge of all the communication up front in Cleveland, in Atlanta, and now with the 49ers. There is no better resource than Alex Mack to be a mentor for a future center for the 49ers. So who becomes that future center? Is it Brunskill? It actually might be Brunskill because he did a good job filling in 2020 after that Honus Grasu fiasco, after that catastrophe. But if it is Brunskill, he probably couldn't play right guard anymore. So you would really have to make key one work, right? You'd really have to shuffle a few things around. There's a player to keep an eye on. He's a guy from Kentucky. His name is Luke Fortner, who's played both guard and center for Kentucky that the 49ers might be able to find in the mid-rounds of the draft, who could potentially be that replacement for Alex Mack in the future, who can also step up and deliver some swing guard action right now. Number 3, establish consistency at right tackle. This is one that's under the radar because Mike McGlinchey is assumed to be the starter for the 49ers in 22, but he's coming off a torn quad tendon, and that's a serious injury. And I know McGlinchey was pass blocking at the highest level of his career before the Week 9 injury in this past 2021 season, but it's no guarantee that he's going to be back to his former self, especially by Week 1 of the 2022 season. Beyond that, McGlinchey is on the final year of his rookie deal, a $10.9 million fully guaranteed fifth-year option. This all means that the 49ers have to think about the short term and the long term at right tackle, which is why it's extremely important that they focus on adaptable offensive linemen this offseason. So, even assuming that McGlinchey is back and healthy Week 1, you have to think about 2023 and beyond. So I think that the 49ers may well draft a tackle. They may also go into the free agent pool, and I'll talk about tackle potential draftees down the road. That's something that will obviously get a lot of attention for a team that has 9 picks entering the 2022 draft. But as far as free agency goes, you talk about David Kessenberry, San Jose State product, played for the Titans. Not a great pass blocker. He gave up a lot of sacks this past year, but he's a good run blocker, and he has guard tackle versatility. That'll be a lower end option to provide depth beyond McGlinchey, at least for a year. A slightly higher end option that really intrigues me is Billy Turner, who was just released by the Packers due to cap concerns. But Billy Turner has played right tackle, he's played left tackle, and he's also played guard. So Billy Turner would be another one of those adaptable offensive linemen that you could just plug in for the 49ers. Obviously familiar with the type of scheme that they're going to run, because the Packers and the 49ers do have related offenses. So I would look at Billy Turner if you're really concerned about McGlinchey's ability to return it at 100% and want to make sure that that right tackle position is shored up. All right, the first 3 keys, no coincidence, were offensive line keys, because that is the focal point of the 49ers' problems right now. That's where they have to focus things. The next 2 keys, I don't want to make them afterthoughts, but they're lower on my list. So number 4, execute another round of specificity signings, possibly at safety and wide receiver. We saw the 49ers do it last year with their limited cap space. They went out and they got Jaquiski Tartt on a 1-year deal. They went out and got K'Wan Williams on a 1-year deal. They obviously went out and got DJ Jones on a 1-year deal. Well, maybe I should add defensive ends to this right here, because I'm sure the 49ers would love talent to pair with Nick Bosa. Hey, Kerry Hyder is out there. Maybe you get him on a 1-year deal. His best football has consistently come under Chris Kasarik. He was great with the 49ers in 2020. Seattle just cut the guy. Maybe that's your cheap pair with Nick Bosa to make things work and to keep that defensive line humming. But maybe at that safety position, maybe a guy like Tartt is a player who comes back. In a couple minutes, I'm going to talk to George Odom, who's the 49ers free agent signing at safety. And guess what? Odom, he can play in the box. I mean, he's a special teams ace, right? Smaller player. Tartt 6'2", over 2, 6-foot guy, 200 pounds, but he didn't miss a single tackle in the box last year. So I actually think that between George Odom, Jimmy Ward, and Talanoa Hufanga, 49ers may have a nice 3-safety rotation going, but I don't think it would hurt to really zero in on, with some veteran salary exception deals, if it is possible, on players like Jaquiski Tartt, who might still have a little bit in the tank and could help you on at least a rotational basis. At this point, those are the signings that you should expect for the 49ers, those signings that are really focused on a specific area of need. Safety might be one of them. Defensive end might be another one of them. That's why I mentioned Kerry Hyder. And of course, wide receiver, you might want to bolster that room behind Deebo Samuel, Jawan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk, and Ray McLeod. You might want to have one more depth piece, somebody like Mohamed Sanu last year, but obviously a little bit more spry, a little bit more available to contribute in this 2022 season. And finally, set a plan of attack at nickelback. Right now, the 49ers, they have Charvarius Ward at outside cornerback. Maybe he kicks in every once in a while. Maybe you have Emmanuel Mosley kick in from the other side and Ambry Thomas take the field at outside corner. But I wouldn't be too comfortable with that if I'm the 49ers. I would want something a little bit more firm. And K'Wan Williams is still out there. Maybe you go another 1-year deal for K'Wan to keep some continuity and to prevent, some kind of overbearing, crazy rotation that might compromise the 49ers at outside cornerback. Maybe that's not the 49ers plan, but I still think that they've gone dedicated nickel in every single season of the Shanahan tenure. It's worked out fairly well, and I think it's something that the 49ers should probably target or at least think about moving forward. All right, time for me to go talk to Ray McLeod. Got to get on a Zoom call. So everybody take care. Subscribe to the channel. Hope you enjoyed these 5 keys, and we'll talk to you all soon. Bye now.